Oh my God, what? Stupid plastic. I would never install this on any vehicle, ever. So in today's video, we're working on this 2021 Ford F-150. It's a hybrid, and we're doing our paint protection service, which is our simplified exterior only service. It's a wash, a decon, and a sealant. But there's a little thing that we have to deal with here on the hood that the owner wants us to remove. Now, the truck itself is really not in bad condition. It's a daily driver. He just wants it washed and protected. Now, this is what we have to deal with. This WeatherTech bug shield or rock chip shield, whatever you want to call it. And it's the type that is glued onto the paint. I am not a fan of this, and the owner does not want it on here either. He does not like it, so he wants it removed. We're going to show you how we remove these. They can be annoying, and it can be a liability. So I did have to tell my customer that removing these can cause like a line here that junk has etched into the paint that may need some extra compounding and polishing. I hope no wet sanding, but you never know. The owner also put some silicone or something here on the paint. That might be a problem. And again, I told the owner that when removing these, it's risky. You gotta be careful, and he understands the risks. If it ruins the paint, that's not my fault. I'm going to remove this carefully, and we'll show you how. So drying the paint to perfection is not really that important right now because we're not going to polish it. We're just doing our protection service. Washing, deconning, and then protection. Whether we're going to machine apply something or spray something on, that always depends on the condition of the paint. Now I say that because sometimes the clay mitt or clay bar, clay towel, whatever you're using can sometimes leave a little bit of marring behind. We're going to look at the paint and see if it did leave marring behind. That's an indicator of either one of two things. Either the clay bar, clay mitt, or clay towel is just done and you need to throw it away and get a new one, or it's maybe just cheap. Clay barring usually will mar up your paint anyway. It just kind of depends on the softness of your paint, but a good clay towel or clay mitt should not leave that type of marring behind. Again, unless the paint is super soft, that you just looking at it is going to swirl it. So what we apply to the paint, whether machine applied or spray, just depends on what the paint looks like. So before we get started on the paint, we're gonna hit the trim. Now the trim is already in really good condition because it's fairly new, and obviously the owner must be doing a pretty good job of caring for it. It's not too faded. We're gonna use Vonnex Synergy plastic. This is not a plastic restore. This is a plastic protectant. It's basically like a ceramic coating for your plastics. Everything does need to be nice and dry on here. Whoops, I just put my fingerprints on there. That's okay. That's just, it's because my fingers are wet. But everything does need to be nice and dry, and just apply like a dressing. It's super easy to apply, but it does not play well with water, so everything needs to be fully dry on this. You'll just notice that it doesn't apply right when it hits a little drip of water. So it's going to protect the plastics, let this cure. It's best if it sits indoors for a couple of hours. 12 hours is the best. It really shouldn't see rain for like 12 hours. You know, if it sees rain within a couple of hours, I guess sometimes you just can't help it if you're a mobile detailer. You can also use it on the interior leathers and plastics. On the outside, it can last anywhere between 4 to 6 months, maybe longer on a well-maintained vehicle, but on the inside, it can last for years. I think they say up to 3 to 4 years on the interior plastics. So that's pretty awesome. Removing this is risky. As you can see, if you get a little closer, you can see in here all the dirt buildup, but it's also sealed down with like a silicone thing. Just this corner was. Maybe it was lifting up and it wasn't pressing all the way down. The double stick tape wasn't working. That may be a problem. That might pose a problem. Let's try to slowly lift things up. We're going to heat things up as well. You need to heat it up to warm up that glue, and then things will start to peel up. When doing any type of removal jobs like this, it's good to have these little plastic tools. Having these to slowly pry things up is good. You can already see it gets under there and you can start to pry it up. Inevitably, this is probably going to cause some marring on the paint. It's just inevitable. I mean, how are you going to take this off without being a little aggressive and trying to peel things off and maybe even scrape a little bit? That's why we use plastic tools. They may scratch a little bit, but it's very easy to polish out. So I have this really nice heat gun that I purchased from Car Supplies Warehouse. It's adjustable, which is really, really cool. From, you know, low heat to max heat. I set it around, I don't know, medium mark or a little bit less. And just slowly heat up each area at a time. Hopefully I can break this seal first here before I go any further. We'll see. Finally. Oh, so much dirt and junk under there. That is not good. Bad design. Sorry guys. I don't know why anyone would want this. Just get the ones that don't glue on. Don't double stick anything to your paint. Look at all that dirt and junk underneath. No, this does not protect your paint. Now you have this double stick tape on your paint. You have that junk under there that can actually start to rot away your clear coat. No, bad choice. I would never install this on any vehicle, ever. PPF is safer and easier to install and remove. Oh, shoot. I actually sliced my finger on the edge of this. Oh, gosh. I can't use gloves because I'm not going to have any dexterity. You know, gloves that actually protect your hands. Maybe I should. Wow, it's just, I gotta snap it apart. Oh my God, what? Stupid plastic. This is why these hood protectors are a mistake. As you can see, dirt and grime still find their way into these tight areas and settle there. Not a good thing at all. If left for years, these areas will rust and cause issues. So as you can see, these glued on so-called protectors are flawed. Now, could it have been installed improperly? Perhaps, but why risk it at all? Never install these. It's better to just use paint protection film to protect the hood. So after breaking apart little pieces at a time, finally all the plastic pieces have been removed. Now it's time to deal with this double stick tape. So plastic blades and solvent is needed. So we're using Vonnex Strike until I ran out, and then I used Koch Chemie Ulix to get the rest of it. This also took a lot of time and patience, but eventually it was all removed and wiped clean. also have this roll of towels, microfiber towels. They're very, very thin, but they're soft, and it's kind of like a nice disposable type of towel. But it's great for jobs like this because these are going to be one and done towels. After I'm done using this residue remover, these towels are done. I'll just chuck them. It's actually working really well. I'm all out of the Vonix Strike, so I'm going to be using the Kochchemi Ulix. This stuff is more potent. It actually works very, very fast. It's just extremely strong stuff. I'm gonna scrape up all the junk first, put it on a separate towel because it's just gonna create a gummy mess on here. And I wanna get as much of it off, and then any other residual, I'll use a second towel. That works really well. This stuff is extremely strong, and it really does a good job of dissolving the residue and then picking it up without really spreading it too much. It spreads it a little bit. There's just no way to get around that. Overall, it really cleans up this residue easily. We're left with a bunch of scratches in the paint. The residue is gone. This is caused by the razor blade and pulling it off. It's just what happens, unfortunately. We're gonna try to fix that and get the paint looking like the rest of the paint. That's the goal. And this over here, the silicone is all removed, but it stained the paint. I'm going to just gently wet sand that, compound basically this whole front section and get as much of those defects out and then polish it, and then this will be done. I'm just gonna wet sand this with a little bit of 3000 and see if that makes a difference. Just enough to cut whatever is on top. I might need to go a little bit more, but we'll see. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That evened it out. There's like a little spot there. We'll see. Let's compound it out and see what it looks like. So I'm going to use the 3-inch ShineMate cordless polisher, the Rupes yellow wool pad, and the DA fine from Rupes. Well, it looks much better, but this is unfortunate because when you look closely, you can see that it left basically a pock mark in the paint, and I can't wet sand that out. So it looks good, but you can see the line. I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. That is etched into the paint. I can wet sand and wet sand and wet sand, but that's risky. This is as far as I'm going. Whatever was put here, unfortunately, damaged the paint. Can't do anything about it. So I'm gonna hit the rest of the bumper with the larger polisher just because it's easier, faster. So I want to show you guys an accessory that works with any polisher pretty much, because it comes with different threads here, which is really cool. This is the Buff Bright Flamethrower, I think it's called. Basically, it's an LED light, snaps onto your polisher. You don't have to keep it on here. You can pop it off, which is really nice. And this light also pops off. It rotates and everything, fully adjustable. And you can also get a headband and remove the light like this and pop it onto your head like a headlamp. Works great for interiors also. So you can actually have the light shining on the paint as you're working, so you can see it. It's kind of cool. So you can see the difference, polished, unpolished. So we were able to get all those defects out, or at least the majority of them. So with that done, it's looking great. It's finally done. We're going to protect everything with the Alliant SiO2 ceramic spray sealant. Barrier, it's called. Super easy application. I like to spray it onto the towel, wipe on, wipe off. Super easy. And I'm finding that this stuff does not smear at all. It's extremely easy to apply, and ooh yeah, super slick surface. Super slick surface. Super slick surface. Super slick surface. Now if you're a fan of spraying it on the paint, you can. I just like to lightly mist it if I'm going to spray it on the paint. I'm just not a fan of that. I like to apply it onto the towel. I feel I get better control. That's just me. Wifey, though, likes to apply it onto the paint. That's just her preferred method. Neither is ultimately right or wrong, just personal preference. And the paint is grabby at first because there's just no protection on it at all. And I just polished it. I just polished the hood, just a quick buzz over with Rupes DA Fine, just to clean it up a bit. Not even worried about swirls at all, because that's not even on the docket at all. Just to clean the paint, that's it. Oh, beautiful. That's nice. It's just such a shame that this is kind of burnt into the paint. So for tires, I'm using Vonix Verse. This is their water-based dressing. I tend to use this straight. You can dilute it if you want, but I don't know. I like the look of it straight onto the tire. And rubber trim, plastics, any of that works really well. And for protection, Synergy Wheel. I love this stuff. The Synergy products from Vonix, love them. And for these nasty tailpipes, we're going to use Renegade Rebel Red metal polish. This stuff is pretty strong.